And now the starting lineups for the Ability 360 Heat. Number 13, Shin Shimakawa. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for the starting lineups for the D1 National Championship Tournament. For the Ability 360 Phoenix Heat, number 13, Shin Shimakawa. Number 6, Corey Putterbaugh. Number 10, Joe Jackson. And number 8, Scott Hogsett. And now the starting lineups for the University of Arizona Wildcats. Number 7, Daisuke Ikazaki. Number 10, Josh Wheeler. Number 12, Chad Cohn. And number 31, Lee Fredette. And now to perform the national anthem, Jennifer Benson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for the final match of the 2018 USQRA Wheelchair Rugby Nationals. It is the Division I Championship match for Para Sports Live. I'm Tony Jackson. Joining me once again, the Commissioner of the U.S. Quad Rugby Association, Dave Mengen. Dave, this is the match we've all been waiting for.
Absolutely, Tony. Teams play for this all year. These are the top two. They already played once this weekend, went to overtime. Great game. I expect the same.
Yeah, that game, the overtime match, going in favor of the Wildcats, 54-52. The final score of that one. We are about to get underway in just a few moments. The starting lineups have been announced. Your officials for this match are Casey Herman and Karen Banfield. And
both highly experienced, great referees.
Teams are coming out onto the floor, and I think a lot of people figured that this was going to be the match that we were going to see for the championship, and here we are. This is going to be an absolute scorching match, Dave.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. You won't see a whole lot of turnovers.
And so now
both Japanese players doing the jump here.
Ikazaki for the Wildcats and Shimakawa for the Heat. And we are underway here. Again, it is the Division I National Championship match. Both these teams very, very familiar with each other. About 90 miles or so separating Phoenix from Tucson. And there is Ikazaki with the first point of the match. And Dave, this is going to be loud. We've got supporters all behind us over here. We've got supporters in front of us. It's going to be a great atmosphere here for this last match.
Yeah, but this is by far the most people we've seen in the gym and the stands. And then, of course, all the other players are done with their games.
Oh, and there's a turnover, but it looks like we're going to get a foul on the play.
It was either a 10-second no dribble or a 12 seconds. They didn't cross half. So there was going to be a turnover either way.
And the inbound pass to Wheeler. Wildcats looking to go up here by 2 early on. Wheeler, and there's a bump there by Shimakawa.
Great job of sealing that corner, keeping Wheeler out.
And there's Ikazaki with another point for the University of Arizona. And
uncharacteristic early turnover for either of these teams that are stocked with Paralympic players.
I mean, Corey Puderbaugh was just at the last Paralympics with Team USA. And there is Shimakawa with a point, the first of the match for the Heat. Now, Dave, we have all kinds of experience on the floor. They played yesterday, but still, this is a different type of match. This is for the championship. I don't want to say nerves are at play, but probably a little bit of butterflies out there for both sides.
Well, many of these guys have played in gold, silver, and bronze medal games. They get the pressure. They know how to handle it. But yes, there's definitely a significant amount of pressure, especially when you're the Phoenix Heat, who are defending their national championship with a completely different lineup than they had last season.
And they're playing in their home building as well. So, I mean, even though it's technically a neutral site, this is where they call home.
It is to their advantage, though, to have their fans here in the crowd, although University of Arizona isn't ridiculously far away.
And we have a timeout on the floor, early timeout in this match. Both these teams are going to be spending a lot of time feeling each other out here. I mean, they played yesterday, and that was a great match yesterday, and it really was a turnover at the end of the overtime that really kind of determined the winner of that one, the Wildcats coming out on top there.
Yeah, overtime's only 3 minutes, so if you trade goals, you can go to several. I've been in a 4 overtime game. I've been in a 5 overtime game. One turnover makes all the difference at that point.
I mean, what's it like playing a 5 overtime game, Dave?
When you have no substitutions, it's very tiring.
I can only imagine.
But you're still in it, you know, and mentally you're just like, I got to get through, I got to score this point, I got to get to the next thing and make something happen.
Shimakawa for the Heat coming up the floor, and there goes a tire. Let's see who it is. Over the line goes Shimakawa, and it looks like Puderbaugh is the one with an equipment problem here, so we're going to have a pause in the action as Puderbaugh gets another tire put on. I mean, this is a common occurrence in wheelchair rugby. You'll hear the hissing of the tires constantly throughout the match.
Or a boom.
Or a boom every once in a while. It looks like his right tire is the one that failed, so we're going to get him fixed up here.
We'll be saying Puderbaugh's name a lot. He's fast. He's gotten to be a great player in just a couple of short years. And he was USQRA Player of the Year last year.
Lots of talent out here on the floor. But Putterbaugh definitely top of the line athlete.
Well, you know who you don't hear a lot of names of are the low pointers. They're the ones setting things up for the guys who carry the ball, giving them a way out, keeping those guys off, the other guys off their backs.
And there's another point for the Wildcats. Ikazaki.
Joe Jackson calling for the inbound to get out of his position. He's going to be the inbounder anyway. Looks like Ikazaki needs a wheel. This year we've taken away a rule that you were not allowed to make contact before the whistle was blown prior to this, but now you can make any kind of contact. You can lock a guy up. It adds a new dynamic to the game, but you'll see people get tires popped in between the whistles.
It's got to add a lot more strategy to it, too, because you're trying to cover people before the ball gets thrown and you're trying to free yourself up.
It changes the strategy, because before you had to get into a position that when the whistle blew, you could get in there and lock a guy up. Now you just can get in there, hit him, lock him up, move him around.
So Putterbaugh trapped there, but he tosses the ball out. Shimakawa, Wheeler coming in to cut him off, and he just misses. There was a huge collision coming up there, but Shimakawa was able to just move out of the way.
He went for the boom.
So Wheeler, now after missing that hit, and there's a huge collision. Wheeler put on the floor by Putterbaugh. Huge hit, and we'll surely see that one again in just a moment while Wheeler gets scraped off the floor.
It's the Arizona staff coming over to flip him over.
My goodness, and here it is once again. Corey Putterbaugh just absolutely teeing up Josh Wheeler. And he's upright once again. Joe Jackson's going to throw in for the Heat. And Shimakawa trapped there by Cone and Fredette, but he gets it out to Putterbaugh.
Used Jackson very well there to get away from Ikazaki.
And there's Putterbaugh and Ikazaki racing. I mean, so much speed between those two. And there's a hit right there. Putterbaugh on Fredette.
Arms pumping, man. Those guys, the speed is just incredible. I mean, if you watch the game before this, the speed difference between D1 and D2 is significant and clearly visible.
Putterbaugh trying to stop Wheeler. Wheeler gets the ball down the floor. Ikazaki breaks free, and he's going to score another point for the Wildcats. He's just going to hold up, however, and just kill a little bit of the clock.
And also let his defense set up in their position before he scores.
So now it looks like Scott Hogsett is going to take the throw for the Heat. Lots of contact down here. Guys trying to get everybody out of position here. Now Shimakawa, Ikazaki doing battle here. And there's a strip by Ikazaki. It's still loose. Hogsett picks it up. And there's a fight for the ball. Ooh. Shimakawa gets it, but Ikazaki's going to get called for a foul.
So ultimately, the ball didn't change hands. It ended up in Shimakawa's. But that foul is going to make this goal a lot easier.
So Joe Jackson for the Heat going to throw in.
Putterbaugh spread wide.
And now Shimakawa is just going to roll it in.
Wildcats not going to put up any kind of defense here.
6-5 the score.
You can see there's a pile of players in front of Ikazaki trying to keep him from getting on the court.
Joe Jackson and Fredette trying to lock up over here as Fredette makes his way to throw in. Fredette over to Wheeler. Wheeler's caught up by Hogsett and Shimakawa, but Wheeler gets away. Shimakawa, the pass over Ikazaki now for the Wildcats. And there's Shimakawa who slams into Ikazaki, but not enough to throw him off of his line, and he's going to roll over the line for a goal. 7-5 the score.
So much speed.
I mean, just the pace of these athletes out here is just astounding.
And you generally see that the scores of the D1 games are higher than the D2 games.
And there's another hit, and Ikazaki almost goes over as Putterball puts another point on the board for the Heat. And even Cone, who is a 1.5, he has a lot of speed for a 1.5. I mean, he can really move down the floor really well. And just so much out here on the floor. Joe Jackson now takes a hit on Wheeler.
They have to be fast so that the ball handlers can follow them up court instead of outpacing them.
Ikazaki trying to get around Shimakawa. Jackson trying to stop Ikazaki as well. Shimakawa now
15 left on the shot clock.
Oh, nice tip by Putterball there. Good defense.
This could be Arizona ball, though. Oh, they're calling that a turnover?
Let's see what the call is here. They're discussing. Let's see, it is going to be Wildcat throw-in.
Karen Banfield pointed the other way, but yeah, this is the right call because Putterball tipped it out.
Good defense, though, by Putterball. Now it forces the Wildcats to set up and gives an opportunity to the Heat to set up on defense as well.
Exactly.
Fredette trapped down there in the corner deep. Ikazaki gets the ball to pass over to Cone, and Chad Cone scores another point for the Wildcats, 8-6 to score. Putterball bumped by Ikazaki.
He's got a nice pick coming from Jackson.
And now a race. Putterball, Ikazaki. Putterball wins. Another point for the Heat.
No question who's going to win that one.
Ikazaki is fast, but I mean, Putterball's speed is just, it's immense.
Amazing. Yeah, you could see him just totally pulling away.
So Fredette into Josh Wheeler. Shimakawa strips Wheeler. It's going to be Wildcat ball, but nicely done by Shimakawa. Wheeler going to take it.
Putterball turned his back on him.
Wheeler just trying to find his way through there. Passes off to Ikazaki, and it looks like that's going to be a point.
Shimakawa crossed the line. You can't cross that line without the ball, no matter what team you're on. But only the active goal line, meaning whichever team has possession, that's the goal line they would be advancing toward.
Putterball.
Got a pick.
Nicely done by Hogsett. And Wheeler goes over, but he's able to hold himself up there just barely. Looked like Ikazaki tried to hold on to him, but a little too late.
It looked like those two collided. Like Ikazaki put him over.
A little bit. Ikazaki probably, well, it looked like he kind of clipped that wheel of Wheeler. Turned him over. So while we have a moment, once again, I want to thank everybody for watching this live stream of the 2018 USQRA Wheelchair Rugby Nationals on the Ability 360 YouTube channel. For Parasports Live, I'm Tony Jackson. I'm joined by Dave Mengen, the commissioner from the U.S. Quad Rugby Association. University of Arizona Wildcats up by a point, 9-8, looking to make it 2. Wheeler puts up point number 10 for the Wildcats. 3 minutes left to go here in this first period. Shimakawa for the Heat. Nice contact there, good collision from Putterball and Fredette. And a pass off to Putterball. Brings the Heat back to within 1.
Force the defender to make a decision there. Attack the ball or take the pass. He did just that.
It looks like Cone's going to come take the throw.
Joe Jackson, defend. Pick that up, Joe Jackson.
Wheeler and Puderbaugh back at it.
And there's a little bit of a blockade there at the court, but Wheeler gets it over to Fredette. Well done. And it looks like Scott Hogsett is having a little bit of an issue here. Let's see, he raised his hand. I thought there was something going on, but he just called himself to take the throw in. Wheeler doing very well against Shimakawa, but Shin Shimakawa now moving down the floor, looking for Puderbaugh. Now he's just going to weave his way around the Wildcat defenders. Good moves there by Shimakawa.
Wow.
Nicely done. Great agility there just to weave his way through that Wildcat defense.
He really did snake around a whole lot of people like they were pylons.
Wheeler, Jackson and Puderbaugh cut him off, but Wheeler pushes forward.
Puderbaugh almost got him to lose that ball in the dribble.
Almost, and now Ikazaki with the ball. Puderbaugh, Jackson, and Shimakawa around him, but the pass over to Wheeler makes it 12-10 in favor of the University of Arizona.
This game far from over. When these two teams played earlier, there were a couple of times where one team was up 2 or 3 goals, the other team was up 2 or 3 goals.
Oh, and Wheeler almost turns over Puderbaugh, but he stays upright. And now Puderbaugh sandwiched between Ikazaki and Wheeler. Hogsett comes in to help out. The pass off to Shimakawa as he circles around, waiting for his teammates to help set up.
They got an
pass
offensive
through.
play they're going to run here.
Shimakawa trying to get through. He's stuffed by Wheeler and Cone.
Got Puderbaugh
With the
in
pass
middle.
off. Oh, and a turnover by the Wildcats, and Daisuke Ikazaki racing down the floor.
A lot of Wildcat fans in the crowd.
There are a
They are
ton of them
stoked.
here. A great defense by the Wildcats. You mentioned that the Heat running a set play there, and the Wildcats defended it beautifully. Hogsett looking for an outlet. Wildcats playing tough defense, but Puderbaugh comes up with the ball. Puderbaugh holds on to it. Cone comes up. Wheeler, but Puderbaugh just makes his way through there.
He caught Ikazaki again with his back turned. You can't see where the guy's going to go. Just have to guess, like a soccer goaltender in a penalty kick situation. Guess and dive.
Wheeler goes over
That's
once
gonna be a
again.
spin. No?
Wow, and play continues. Well, and now they're going to stop. Wheeler goes tumbling over again. That was close. You think that was a spin?
Well, it was close. I think referee Casey Herman felt like that was initial contact was made in front of the axle. That's why she didn't call it a spin.
Well, let's see the replay here. We'll see what happened. And it was
Center.
it was close. That was a good call
I think that was a good call.
by the official there. But again, Josh Wheeler hits the floor for a second time.
He's still asking why that wasn't a spin.
I think the replay showed that it was right about center, as you said.
Could have gone either way. You know, it's a judgment call. Is it putting somebody in danger? If it's somebody's being put in danger, they're going to call it every time.
So now Shimakawa with the ball, looking for Puderbaugh, who comes back for it. Wheeler, the pass over to Jackson. Joe Jackson racing for it. He's going to pick it up, but he's going to get caught by Ikazaki. Puderbaugh takes the ball from Jackson. Puderbaugh surrounded by Wildcat defenders. Puderbaugh going to have to call a timeout here. Let's see.
Got in a dribble.
And he did. He called that timeout just in time. And Dave, the Wildcat defense has been unbelievable so far.
Yeah, swarming. Like even in that situation, there was no way he was going to get in a dribble or a pass. I expect his teammate Joe Jackson called that timeout because there was no way he was going to be able to even put his arms together to make the signal unless he yelled it.
So 40 seconds left to go in this first period, and already the action has just been back and forth and so intense and really fitting of the championship match.
Yeah, it's certainly not disappointing. any of the fans who saw the earlier game and expected to see something like this.
Now the team's coming back out onto the floor.
17 seconds left on the shot clock, but 40 on the game clock. So each team will likely get another possession.
Let's see how this unfolds. The Heat don't have much time to score. Let's see what they do here. Shimakawa ramping up, trying to get around, but he's cut off by Igazaki. Igazaki doing very well. Shimakawa in trouble, 3 seconds left. Joe Jackson with the ball, and he gets over the line just in time. Nicely done by Shimakawa to find Joe Jackson over there, just hiding in the corner. Cone, 22 seconds left to go in this first period. Igazaki takes the ball, being chased by Hogsett. Puter ball right there as well.
They'll try and work that
Wheeler
last
comes
goal.
crashing through. Puter ball trying to push him over the line. Hogsett also trying to push him over, and he does, but only 2 seconds left to go. But good job, good clock management by U of A. And Hogsett complaining that he got bumped over by Igazaki. Is that a turnover?
He took possession of the ball from the referee while he was out of control, and he crossed the line, and that's probably going to be her call.
And Hogsett is not happy about that.
He shouldn't have reached for the ball. He shouldn't. I understand why he's not happy, but I don't think she's making the wrong call.
They've had some very, very close calls so far, but they haven't been wrong yet, Dave.
They have to play. You got to have real tough defense here by Phoenix to make sure that they don't get an extra one.
And there's another point by the Wildcats.
That's painful.
That's going to be
A costly turnover.
a huge turnover. And in a moment, let's see, we're going to see a replay here real quick. And you're exactly right.
And there's a turnover.
Looks like another turnover, but look at the replay here. You just saw it. Hogsett, in fact, did not go completely out of bounds before taking the ball.
He inbounded it. The player that caught it spiked it to the ground, and the clock hadn't expired, so the referee called it a turnover. So now they're going to try again.
0.8 seconds. Oh, and Igazaki says no goal, says the referee. But wow, lots of drama in the first 8 minutes of this match. And Hogsett still talking to the referee. My goodness, we're going to take a break. It's the Division I National Championship match here at the 2018 USQRA Wheelchair Rugby National Tournament. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a drama-filled Division I championship match. It's the 2018 USQRA Wheelchair Rugby National Tournament. For Parasports Live, I'm Tony Jackson. Joining me, the USQRA Commissioner, Dave Mengen. Dave, what can you say about that first quarter that hasn't been said already? Wow.
You know, I'm really excited to see what Phoenix does with the emotion that came out of that final play that resulted in 2 goals by University of Arizona.
And even Scott Hogsett, during the intermission, arguing the call still. And we watched the replay again. It was the right call, but it really threw them off their game for a moment.
It's a tough situation. You're coming in, you're trying to get that inbound quickly, so you reach out there for the ball from the referee, but he didn't have control of his chair. He caught the ball as he was kind of swinging around. He didn't even come off the court.
And you see it once again, yeah.
In his mind, he's trying not to run over the referee. So that's probably what he's arguing. Like, I'm trying not to hit you, and you're going to turn my ball over? So now he's
still arguing.
Looks like he's going, he's got a technical, and now he's going to the box because he won't stop arguing about it. So this is going to cost them yet another opportunity.
Wow, and just the lack of emotional control there in that moment. You're already down by 3, now looking to potentially go down by 4. Well, let's see, they're about to inbound. Ernie Chun.
And this is right, Phoenix is inbounding because it's their possession. I don't know why Arizona had the ball on the sideline, but the possession there was clearly in favor of Phoenix. So shorthanded, Phoenix scores that goal. That's big. That could have been a bad situation.
It really could have been. That was a 2-point goal difference right there. Oh, and a huge hit. And that is an over and back. Nicely done by Ernie Chun.
Yeah, really a great play just to set up and line him up at that point in time.
So now Chun taking the ball, sending it in. Cone swiped for it, couldn't quite get it. And Shimakawa will get another point. And 2 quick points by the Heat. Makes it a 1-point game.
That despite not having their captain and coach as he sits in the penalty box.
I mean, as a Heat player, you got to feel really good about that. You were down by 3 with your captain in the penalty box. Now you're only down by 1. Nick Springer for the Heat coming up. He's on the floor right now as well.
That's why I worded it the way I did. What are they going to do with the emotion that came out of that play?
And they responded quite well there.
They did.
Ikazaki with the ball.
Now he's waiting for his teammates to set up on Shimakawa so that he can't get out.
And now Hogsett comes back out onto the floor. Great sequence there by the Heat. And now Shimakawa racing down the floor. Ikazaki looking there, waiting to meet him. Nicely done, Ikazaki. He's so smooth with the way he turns and weaves his way around the defenders.
He's been playing for a very, very long time. My first national championships I ever attended, 10 or 12 years ago, he got Player of the Year in the USQRA. He was playing with Texas Stampede.
Ikazaki with another point. Little change of direction there to fake out the defenders.
Head fake and a pass fake are my 2 best friends.
Shimakawa now trying to get around Cone, and he does. Shin Shimakawa, nice move by Nick Springer there to hold off Ikazaki and free up Shimakawa to score another point. 17-16 the score. A little under 90 seconds gone by here in this second period. Now Josh Wheeler for the Wildcats. Trying to work his way through Ernie Chun there.
Got his teeth into the front of Wheeler's chair.
Ikazaki with the ball once again. Hogsett just trying to hold him off, can't quite do it. And Shimakawa just tried to back into him to stop him, but he couldn't get there quickly enough. So Shimakawa.
Left too much corner. Hogsett, able to hang on.
Hogsett over to Chun. Chun back over to Shimakawa. Nice move, good hit there by Springer. And another point
Just the speed of the low point players in this game.
I mean, it just makes everything that much faster when your low pointers
Oh, yeah.
are that fast. I mean,
Well, they're forcing the high pointers to work on offense.
Springer and Shimakawa doing well there to stop Wheeler. And now Ikazaki. Springer's there. Ikazaki working his way through. Nice pass over to Cone. And another point. University of Arizona 19. 360 Heat 17.
It's a nice play. He had 2 ball options.
Chun met by Ikazaki and a timeout.
Good call. Used 9 out of their 12 seconds. He had his back turned to the play. There's no way you're getting the ball out of there safely.
So while we have a timeout, it looks like the adrenaline has worn off just a little bit now. Teams are starting to settle in a little bit more.
Yeah, you're starting to get some balance back in what's going on. People have control of their emotions, and they're starting to play their games. But as you can see, it's a 2-point game. Arizona with possession of the ball can make it 1 every time they get their hands on it.
So we're coming back out of this timeout. 360 Heat with the throw in. Ernie Chun going to do the honors here. Shin Shimakawa for the 360 Heat. Bringing the ball up, looking for some space. Wheeler's there, going to try to cut him off, and he does.
Comes in with some speed, too, so that he can try and draw the player into the corner. That's what they're trying to do, is create some space, force guys into a place.
Nicely done. Not a lot of space back
on
there.
One side or the other, yeah.
Shimakawa just fitting his way through Wheeler.
Back
Dangerously
turn.
close. And Cone, and now there's an opportunity for a turnover. Can Cone get it? Oh, and nicely done by Shimakawa to bump off Cone. Ball still loose, and Nick Springer kicks it right into Ikazaki. And Josh Wheeler will take the point there.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
And that is exactly what that was. That was a kick. I mean, Nick doesn't have any feet, but he took the toe of his chair and popped that ball up.
Well done by Nick Springer. Unfortunately, to the wrong team. So the lead is back up to 2 for the Wildcats. Chun close to the center line. He's going to need some help. Hogshead's behind him. Chun over the line.
Oh.
He looked over the line there, but the referee did not call that. And now,
because the casters were not touching the floor. They have to be touching the floor for that to count. That's why he didn't get that call.
Shimakawa now stopped by Wheeler. But that's going to be a point. So
Wheeler got bounced out.
That was a good call by the referee, though, because Chun's pick was over that line, but the referee saw that the wheels weren't on the ground. So very fortunate for the Heat there.
He may have been leaning back on purpose, knowing that was coming. But he also got hit from behind, which is going to throw his weight there.
Wheeler catches that ball just before he goes over the line. And so now Shimakawa is going to throw in for the Heat.
10-second clock, dangerously short at that point.
Oh, and there's a turnover.
Hogshead handed it right to him.
And you can see Hogshead right there, just a moment of frustration. But he's been playing a long time, as we both know. He'll shake that one off and get right back to it.
That was his moment to say, damn it, and then just, okay. I felt bad about it for a second. I need to play my game and get back into it.
Shimakawa in trouble now. Chun trying to work his way through. Hogshead just clears a little bit of space, enough for Chun to get out. And the timeout called.
Which was a good call. I mean, shot clock's down to 27, meaning they used 13 by the time the clock stopped.
And, you know, we mentioned it earlier, but I'm going to mention it again. This Wildcat defense has been just relentless out there. I mean, just going to every ball, fighting for every possession, and the Heat have had a little bit of trouble with it.
They're creating turnovers by their aggression, by getting in there, getting in the way of things, turning people's chairs when they're trying to catch the ball, and they've been able to capitalize on those opportunities.
And you see it here, the lead is 3 right now. this game is far from over, of course, but I mean, having a 3-point lead as we're starting to approach halftime here, I mean, this is big for the Wildcats.
To go into halftime with a 3-point lead, that would be big. But you're right, it's far from over. They had 3-point leads yesterday, and then we went to overtime.
I mean, that game yesterday was so back and forth, and that's why I hesitate to say that the game is going to go one way or the other, because you know at some point the Heat are going to start making their move, and they're going to come back, and this is going to be a really tight match as we go forward. Putterball back into the match now, along with Joe Jackson for the Heat, and Shimakawa stopped, but it looks like the referee didn't signal a point.
No, it was a penalty.
It was a penalty, okay.
Because the player carrying the ball wasn't going to score, and they knocked the defensive player across the line, he'll go to the box, and they'll have a chance at a power play here. And a chance to potentially create a penalty situation where Ikazaki stays in the box.
So now Shimakawa just taking his time. Joe Jackson trapped in the corner there by Cone. And now Putterball comes in to help out, and Shimakawa just holding on to the ball, just killing a little bit of the clock. Hogsett trying to hold off Ikazaki.
That's a futile endeavor. He's out now. He's actually working on Hogsett's chair.
Wheeler for the Wildcats. Putterball decides to let him go. Score 23-20. 3:05 to go here in the first half. Shimakawa working his way through, gets past Fredette and Cone. Shimakawa is going to race down the floor, work his way around. Nice move by Jackson, but Ikazaki right there, and we're going to get a foul. Let's see if it was on Ikazaki or Wheeler. It's going to be on Wheeler. He's going to go into the penalty area for illegal contact.
Jackson wasn't able to separate, to divide the court so that he could score. Shimakawa was looking for that opening. But a reaching foul, that'll give you that opportunity right back.
So now Shimakawa will put up another point, and the Heat still trailing by 2.
Wheeler will call inbound, get out of his situation with Hogsett there against the line at the penalty box.
Oh, and there is a turnover, but Wheeler gets it right back. Now there's a race for the ball. Ikazaki gets it. Putterball tries to hold him off, but he can't do it. That was a great opportunity for the Heat to pull this within 1, but the ball.
Well, unlike that game earlier, that ball, it just fell into place. You know, things don't go your way, not necessarily calls, but just ball bounces and spins can make all the difference. You got to put yourself in a position where one play like that doesn't end your championship run.
Shimakawa passes over to Putterball. Corey Putterball now working his way through. Nicely done by Hogsett and Jackson to kind of open up that space for him there. And like you said earlier, the low pointers really doing the heavy lifting and creating that space for the high pointers to score the points.
Yeah, the low pointers make the high pointers look good. They make it look a lot easier than it is.
Wheeler over to Ikazaki.
So in many situations, you have a low pointer just chasing a guy all game, just relentlessly getting his teeth in there, holding on to him, keeping him out of where he wants to be. It'll wear you out.
So Ikazaki just content with holding on to the ball, letting the clock run down. 6 seconds left on the score clock. And he puts it over the line.
And that's an international player's head. We're only around 2 minutes when he started running this, working toward the last ball or the last goal. So he's thinking about, okay, what happens here so that I could get the next possession and then control the clock again. But that turnover is big for Arizona.
It is, indeed. And so now Shimakawa working.
All 8 of these players play at the international level. They're used to the pressure. They know how to get it back. Phoenix didn't win back-to-back national championships by mistake.
Ikazaki in trouble. Shimakawa almost strips it. Putterball chasing.
Stopping.
Nicely done. Cone there to pick up the pass.
He almost got blasted.
Let's see here. And Wheeler takes another tumble onto the floor.
And the only reason they stopped that play was because it stopped advancing toward the goal. Otherwise, they'd have left him on the ground until they scored.
Until they scored, yes. Wheeler, once again, having to get picked up off the floor. By my count, that is number 3 for Josh Wheeler just in the first half. So Fredette sends it into Wheeler, who is now upright once again. And Wheeler going to hold on to the ball. 1:10 left to go. 17 seconds on the score clock. Putterball puts a little pressure on him. Cone comes in to help out. So does Ikazaki.
They're looking to score at about 55. So
Ikazaki
around Lee Fredette.
Well done. 56 seconds left on the clock there.
Actually a penalty goal, but the result's the same.
So Joe Jackson going to send it in.
Putterball can't get open.
Joe Jackson pops it into Shimakawa, who loses it, and a turnover again for the Heat. Now, at the beginning of this broadcast, you said there weren't going to be very many turnovers, but uncharacteristically, there have been quite a few, especially on the part of the Heat here.
Yeah, that one was, Joe Jackson was forced to do a bump pass, and a bump pass is just a lower percentage pass, and it bounced over Shimakawa's head.
I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong with a bump pass. I mean, you hit it off a knuckle funny or hit it off the side of your hand, and that ball could end up going where you don't want it to go, which is kind of what happened there.
It's pretty amazing how well some people make those bump passes, though, at high percentages. There are guys out there like Bob Lujano, who played for USA, plays for Lakeshore, who can pretty much bump it wherever he wants to, as if it was on a rope. 18 seconds.
Shimakawa
looking for that last goal.
Joe Jackson right there all alone. Scores a point with 13 seconds left to go in the half.
It's a lot of time.
So Fredette will send it into Wheeler. Putterball, Hogsett, Ikazaki with the ball. 6 seconds left to go. Ikazaki
Plenty
pushing.
of time.
Putterball race down the floor. 2 seconds, 1 second, and Ikazaki gets over the line before the buzzer, and that is the end of the first half. Dave, before we started this match, I don't know if this is the result that we were going to see, but the University of Arizona up 28-24.
Yeah, I expect it to be closer at this point in the game, but there's still a lot of time to come back. It's not a big gap.
No, especially with these two teams playing each other. We'll see what happens. We got about 5 minutes of halftime. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we will bring you the final half of the 2018 USQRA Wheelchair Rugby Nationals. We're going to take a break. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Si no hablo inglés, ¿alguien puede responder mis preguntas en español?
Hola, soy Jesse. Trabajo aquí en el Sporty Fitness Center los lunes, miércoles y sábados. Si tienes preguntas, no dudes en llamarme al 602-386-4566. Gracias.
Hola, mi nombre es Tlali García. Aquí en Ability 316 hay personas que hablan español. A mí me ha ayudado mucho y pues si algo necesitan también aquí hablo español.
Hi, my name is Angelica and I work here at Sports and Fitness Center. If you have any questions, I can answer them for you. I'm here from Monday through Friday, and I can also answer any questions in Spanish. Come visit us.
Floodstream, a producer of high-definition video and live webcasts. Sports, live events across the country and around the world. Enhance your event, showcase your brand, expand your reach. Floodstream, HD video and live webcasts. Floodstream, floodstream.com.
What services do you provide while my ticket is assigned to your EN?
Hello, my name is Lisa Purdy and I'm the lead employment coordinator for Ability 360's Ticket to Work program. There are several services that we can provide to you while your ticket is assigned to us. Some may include career planning, benefits counseling and income reporting to Social Security Administration, job search assistance, resume and cover letter development, employment coaching, training opportunities for advancement in your career, and post-employment services to help you retain a job.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are about 40 seconds away from the second half, the final two periods of the 2017-2018 U.S. Quad Rugby Association season. This is the Division I National Championship match. The number 1 ranked University of Arizona Wildcats lead by 4 against the number 3 ranked 360 Heat. For Parasports Live, I'm Tony Jackson. Joining me for one final half, the commissioner of the U.S. Quad Rugby Association, the commissioner, Dave Mengen.
Thanks,
Dave?
Tony. Yeah, it's been a great game so far, although seems dominated by U of A. Phoenix needs to make an adjustment here after the half, get themselves back into this game.
Well, they're coming out with the same lineup that they started the match with. Jackson, Shimakawa, Putterbaugh, and Hogsett. The Wildcats also doing the same with Fredette, Wheeler, Cone, and Ikazaki. And Josh Wheeler, the pass and a turnover right away. Nicely done, and another turnover. Right back it goes. The Heat had an opportunity to cut the lead down to 3.
Putterbaugh trying to pick that out.
Now Ikazaki back the other way for the Wildcats again. Ikazaki held up Jackson. Tried to stop Ikazaki, but the pass over to Wheeler puts the Wildcats up by 5.
That's a tough one to give up.
I mean, that's the start you want if you're the Heat until that turnover right there. And another turnover. This is not the start that the Heat were looking for.
Ikazaki dropped that ball, it bounced on Joe Jackson's picker and right back into his hands. Things are just falling into their hands and they're going their way.
That is 2 quick points for the Wildcats, and Putterbaugh now trying to stop the bleeding a little bit here. (30-25) the score. And the Wildcats.
Burdette looking to get it in there to Wheeler.
Ikazaki over to Wheeler. Wheeler, Shimakawa there, but he just lets him go. He really wasn't in any position to do anything there, so Joe Jackson will take the ball for the Heat. Puterball takes it. It's trapped in the corner there, right by the goal line. But he manages to work his way out. Nicely done by Hogsett and Jackson to help free him up there. And we're going to get a 10-second.
12 seconds
was that
in,
12?
cross half, yeah. He got in a dribble in the corner, but he used up all of his time to get across half.
And now the chance of U of A ringing throughout the venue. And Fredette.
So substitutions for Phoenix. Got Ernie Chun and Nick Springer. Nick won a gold medal in Beijing. Played a big part in that game.
And it looks like Chun's right in there, hooking the arm of Ikazaki.
He had his hand on the ball, and Ikazaki was lifting his arm up so that there was a lot of contact, but the referee couldn't see it directly. He tried to move to see it.
Oh, and Springer goes over, trying to make a defensive play. Springer up in the air and over. Nick Springer, one of the more intense players that you'll see out there.
Looked like he was trying to pick that ball up with his arms and just pull it right out of his lap.
Well, he tried, but he ended up on the floor instead.
There is no repercussion for making contact with the guy at the line when he scores. You're going to see a lot of that. Anything to make it, because if he gets it popped out, here we go. We want to see this one again?
Let's take a look at it one more time. Nick Springer, just lots of, he's just going in there for the ball, but he just threw himself up in the air and down he goes. He knows that somebody has to make a move for the Heat. It's 32-25. This is a huge lead for the Wildcats, Dave.
Yeah, 7 points. At this level of play, that's a lot to come back from. But if any team can do it, it's this Heat team.
We'll see how it plays out. There's still a lot of time even left in this period here. 6:20 left to go. But the Heat really need to make their move if they're going to close this gap.
I watched Team USA come back from a 7-point deficit in London against Canada. Ended up tying it up, but Canada ended up winning that game. And that was 7 points at the end of the first. But into the third, now you're talking, you got work cut out for you.
It's quite a hill to climb. But let's see what happens. And Ernie Chun almost goes over. Nick Springer going to pick up that ball.
Touch pass.
Fredette for the Wildcats sends it into Ikazaki.
That's a heck of an inbound for a .5. He fired that in there.
He certainly did. Josh Wheeler now with the ball. Fredette looking to pick it up. Oh, and it looks like Shimakawa is going to get called for a foul. That's an easy one.
They're going to call it a penalty goal?
Let's see. It doesn't look like this.
Did she call that flagrant?
Let's see what the call is. Hogsett is already fired up. Let's see. Shimakawa just he took off his caster wheel back there, his tip wheel back there, knocked over Fredette. Let's see, and Shimakawa is certainly going to go into the penalty area. And Hogsett already fired up from that call earlier in the first period.
He's going to sit for an extra. So they're going to call the first goal a penalty goal, and he'll sit for 2 more goals.
This
because it was flagrant.
A huge a huge moment in this match. Now, University of Arizona has a chance to go up by 10.
And Phoenix shorthanded inbounding the ball. Both of their offensive players are locked up, the offensive players that are left. So it's in the front court, but 10 no touch. That means Arizona gets it back at the baseline. So Phoenix here needs to not only play defense, but think about what they're going to do offensively once Arizona scores, which is likely going to happen.
And there goes
They'll just let them score, but now they're set up in a better place offensively.
Wheeler just holding on to the ball, and now he's going to take it over the line. That is the point right there. The lead is 8. And Shin Shimakawa is going to stay right there in the penalty area.
I'm not sure what they did there that they got themselves into this situation again.
Hogsett now with the ball. Hogsett passes off to Springer.
He's got a lead block. He can do this.
Springer trying to work his way around.
Springer very quick.
Wheeler comes up.
He's waiting for his help, get his 2 ball handlers in there.
Chun.
Chun, low point chair, but he's a deuce. And he's used to running the ball from his earlier days in the league.
And we're going to get a timeout. Somebody's tire went. Let's see who it was.
Ikazaki was doing the motion for equipment by putting his hands on his shoulders. Yeah, it looks like it's his wheel. But now Phoenix has to inbound again with 3 players.
I mean, it's just so tough. Such a harsh situation for the Heat. And
yeah, to have your number 1 guy in the box and try and inbound against these 4.
So Hogsett setting up, and he bumps it over, and it's going to go out. That's a turnover.
Trying to catch Springer at the line so he can score it. And the other problem here is they've used a lot of the clock. The clock is not on their side.
5:19 left to go here in this third period. Wildcats already up by 8. Wheeler now with the ball, trapped by Springer and Hogsett, but he just pushes his way through. Chun's there, but he's screened out by Fredette.
So you'll see Arizona going to try and set something up on defense here because Shimakawa should be coming out after this goal.
And he is coming back out.
He got the nod from Kieran Banfield.
Now Shimakawa takes the ball, fresh out of the penalty area. Shimakawa racing, huge hit by Chun on Ikazaki, and there's a point for the Heat, the first one in a while. And
Wheeler I think he did that to himself. I'd like to see that one again. I don't know if anybody made contact. He may have just tried to turn too quickly.
Wheeler has a special friendship with the floor apparently today. Wheeler, oh, he gets clipped by Hogsett.
No, Hogsett got him, yeah.
Wow.
That could easily be a penalty.
Doesn't look like it's going to be one, however.
He got away with one there. I had definitely called that a spin.
Wheeler is holding up a little bit and just trying to kill the clock now. And we're still lots of time left in the game, but Wheeler just trying to tick those seconds away.
Now a 9-point lead.
And there's a turnover, nicely done by Cone. Wheeler takes it, and Dave, let's make that lead potentially 10. Let's see what happens here. I don't want to speak too soon. But Ikazaki with the ball.
Wheeler must have heard you getting ready to call that when he pulled up.
So Josh Wheeler scores another. It is 37-27. University of Arizona.
What we expected as far as competitiveness.
Not at all. And
credit to Arizona for making the adjustments that got them into this situation.
And I really think the intensity of their defense early on really kind of set the tone for all of this. And Wheeler goes down once again. Josh Wheeler just spending all kinds of time on the floor. And Chun that time clips him and sends him tumbling over.
I'm surprised Josh isn't talking to some people about, hey, what's going on here? I keep getting caught in the back of the wheel and going over, and nobody's calling anything.
Giving a little round of applause to the trainer over there coming out to get him up. Trainer's
He's a busy guy.
Yeah, all day long they've been scraping him off the floor.
Shimakawa setting up a play here. Wheeler's got Chun, so he can't do his part.
And there's another turnover. And if you're the University of Arizona, you have to feel really good right now with where you are in this match.
Absolutely. I mean, this late in the game to have an 11-point lead.
360 Heat are the defending national champions, and they are absolutely destroying them right now.
Yeah, and if you look at the players, each individually, you can see their frustrations. They don't feel like it should be where it is.
And a timeout, smart timeout. Clock was winding down.
A couple of balls have gone a different way. This would be a totally different game.
So we're going to get a few substitutions here. Let's see who comes out onto the floor. It looks like, we'll see here. It looks like C.J. Brown and Gabe Nikanen are both coming out onto the floor for the Wildcats. .313 left to go in this third period. University of Arizona have indeed made a couple substitutions coming into the match. Number 6, C.J. Brown, and number 8, Gabe Nikanen. And there's a long pass down the floor for Brown. And at this point, you got to think the coach is trying to get some guys a little bit of playing time, a little bit of experience out there. I mean, we said it in the last match, you never want to say the game's over until it's over, but an 11-point lead is pretty significant at this point.
Well, and they're not giving up a lot. They've got two guys with a lot of experience and some international play, and you're giving some rest to two guys who could probably use it.
Wheeler takes the ball. Wheeler pushing, looking for a pass over to Ikazaki. And
nice ball movement. You can
nicely
see
done.
They're very loose. They feel comfortable with this lead.
Very fluid movement out there in passing. I mean, they're comfortable, like you just said. When you have an 11-point lead, it's easy to do that. Puterball now with the ball. Puterball works his way through the smallest space there, but Ikazaki there to stop him.
Yeah, it's a completely different sense of urgency when you see the Heat with the ball. All right, setting up this play here. Puterball gets inside. That's what they were looking to do.
Shimakawa still working his way around. Brown comes out to meet him. Puterball cuts him off. The pass over to Jackson, who's going to score a point.
Great
just
job by
before the
Jackson.
buzzer. Nicely done, yes.
Recognize that, get around the corner, and be ready for that catch.
Daisuke Ikazaki with the ball. Time winding down here. He's going to have to get it over the line quickly, and he calls a timeout. He knew it was coming up, and he called it just in time.
Yeah, as you see 28 seconds on the shot clock, that 12 was coming. And they've got the timeouts to spend, so no turnover there. That's what they're looking for. Keep the ball, keep their heads about them.
1:43 to go here in this third period. The University of Arizona Wildcats
The
up by
cheerleaders
10.
Very excited.
So now the throw in coming from Brown. Wheeler, a little bit of defensive pressure on him, and now Ikazaki's got the ball. Jackson trying to hold him off, but Ikazaki just spins out of there. Nicely done.
Nurkinen with several good picks there to get him out.
Great job by Nurkinen to free his teammate. 1:25 to go. Lead back up to 11.
3-on-1 down here. He should score that pretty easily.
And he does. 41-31. Wheeler over to Ikazaki. Brown just free down the floor. And Hogsett just bumps him over the line.
Arizona dropping back into the key. Although they've got some pressure on here, so we might see, because of the back pick, Arizona's going to come back up and press until they can get back in the key.
So now Shimakawa going to hold on for a moment.
Both high pointers coming from opposite corners. You got the look you wanted there.
Nicely done. Good work by those two.
Yeah, Puderbaugh set that little screen, picked him off, and Ikazaki was behind him so that he was able to just dive in there and get that pass from Shimakawa.
Wheeler takes the ball, holds on. He doesn't have to score again until the end of the period, so they're just going to hold on here. 20 seconds to go.
No shot clock. Up by 10. They're certainly in the driver's seat here.
Ikazaki, Puderbaugh tries to strip. And Ikazaki barely had the width of the chair to get through, but he managed to make it. Joe Jackson now with the ball, 4.8 seconds to go.
And with Phoenix having the possession arrow, they needed that goal. Uh-oh.
And so that's the end of the third period. The Wildcats are in cruise control here. Up by 11, 43-32. We're going to take a break. We'll bring you the final 8 minutes. You're watching the D1 championship match. It's the 2018 USQRA Wheelchair Rugby Nationals. It is the final 8 minutes of the 2017-2018 USQRA season. It's the D1 Championships. The University of Arizona Wildcats up by 11, 43-32. For Parasports Live, I'm Tony Jackson. With me for one final period, the commissioner of the U.S. Quad Rugby Association, Dave Minjin. Dave, this was not the result we were expecting.
No, I expected a much tighter game. But these are both two great teams we're seeing out here. One just had a much better day than they had yesterday. This matchup yesterday that went to overtime, all the same players, things just didn't go the same way. That's why you play it out, right?
That's exactly why you play them out. That's correct. We got a timeout on the floor. So, but again, I mean, this is one of the fascinating things about sports in general, though. Like you said, same players as yesterday. Yesterday's match went into overtime. It was a 2-point victory for the Wildcats. Today, those same players come out, and one team is up by 10.
Yeah, not at all what we expected.
So
Arizona's been dominating since very early in the game.
Yeah, I mean, you really feel like outside of maybe the first few minutes of that first period, when it was really back and forth and nerves were high, this has been the Wildcats' game, really.
This shows you why they came in here as the #1 seed.
I mean, you look at all the talent from the Heat. I mean, they have current and former Paralympians. I mean, they're certainly nothing to sneeze at.
No.
But the Wildcats have come in here and just completely just thrown them around and flex their muscles.
They're in the championship game, and you can see that they can run with this Arizona team. They did it yesterday.
Wheeler. Looks like we're going to get a penalty goal there.
Just not the day, Phoenix's day today.
So Hogshead's going to come in and restart play. Puterball takes it.
Arizona created several turnovers, had some fortuitous bounces on others.
And I have to say, one thing that just really kind of came to mind, the University of Arizona has done a really good job of neutralizing Puterball today. I mean, Shimakawa has been able to run up and down the floor fairly freely, but Puterball, after the first period or so, I mean, he's been kind of neutralized out here.
He's probably one of the less experienced guys out here, too. He started playing last year with USA and with Sharp out in San Diego, and he had previously been in Boise, Idaho.
I mean, he's definitely one of the top athletes in the national scene and in the global scene. But that is
slippery, fast, and he's got a good game sense. You can see some of his court vision when he makes some of his decisions, things that most guys wouldn't think to do.
Nice hit there by Shimakawa. Long pass down the floor. And that one's just going to bounce out of reach of Eric Bell.
You can't make that pass without some kind of trunk.
Joe Jackson now going to take the ball. Shimakawa with it. Shimakawa passes over to Puterball. Ikazaki. Puterball racing. And Ikazaki so fast. Managed to hold off Puterball. Puterball wins that little battle and scores another point.
Little juke. Ikazaki okay conceding that goal based on their 9-point lead.
Wheeler. And there's going to be a reach-in foul on Puterball.
They're trying to make something happen here. They know that they're in trouble. So you're going to see a lot more of that kind of thing in this last quarter.
And it looks like Josh pointing at his left wheel. Did it come out of the axle?
Yeah, it looks like the axle popped.
And there he goes right back in.
Sometimes you can hit a guy so hard on one side that the axle pops off on the other side. Loads that spring.
Wheeler just circling around.
Taking his time. Although he has to be careful. You only get 10 seconds inside that key.
But again, Josh Wheeler, another one of those experienced players, and he's fully aware.
Puderbaugh just committed a violation. He turned his chair on the line.
So he's going back into the penalty area. Let's see
That's
here.
just a turnover, though.
Oh, is it
It's
a
not
turnover? Okay.
He doesn't stay in the box.
He started going towards the penalty area. Looked like he was going back in for a moment. Lee Fredette going to throw in for the Wildcats. And U of A really just content with holding on to the ball at this point, just wasting time, ticking it down. Championship is pretty much within their grasp. I mean, they have one hand on the trophy already.
Every second the ball's not in Phoenix's hands puts them closer to that trophy. They know it. That's why they're sitting on it. You can't change your fate if you don't have the ball.
Shimakawa, see what the call is.
It's interesting. There's no meter. The defenders didn't allow the offensive player, the ball, the chance to get on the floor. It should be Phoenix's ball. I think she's saying that's an inadvertent whistle. But we will get substitutions here.
Yeah, it looks like Springer and Chun are coming back in for the 360 Heat. And it is going to be the Heat ball. So Shimakawa coming out. And Hogsett coming off.
So this is a 3-5, 2.5 line out of Phoenix.
And
Puderbaugh
just
hopping out of that pick.
He's caught on Bell's picker, and he got out of there. I mean, that takes an incredible amount of strength to be able to lift yourself up.
Yes, it does.
Springer over the line.
There aren't a lot of guys out there who have that kind of trunk function.
It looks like we have equipment. Let's see what's going. Well, let's see here what's going on. Yeah, Puderbaugh is needing a little bit more tape. .441 left to go. University of Arizona Wildcats up by 10.
Taping that glove onto his stump a little better.
I mean, there's so much friction when you're dealing with those wheels and the tar that's on those wheels too. I mean, it's just
starting and stopping. Yeah, it's gloves get torn apart, tape gets ripped up.
I mean, in a typical season, how many pair of gloves would you say you go through?
I go through a pair of gloves per game.
Per game, not even per game. You're going through a pair of gloves.
Now I wear like a gardening glove that has a rubber coating on it. They're only $3.50 a pair. Now some of these guys are wearing wide receiver gloves that are vinyl that are $35 a pair. They can't afford to go through a pair a game.
Oh, Puderbaugh with a nice hit on Bell, but Bell holds on to the ball, keeps his balance, and Springer comes in for the Heat. Pass off, Ikazaki with it from Fredette. Again, just playing so loose right now of the Wildcats. I mean, that wasn't even any trouble for them right there, even though it was pretty good defense by the Heat.
The lack of pressure allows you to feel more comfortable in that situation. And as you saw, Bell went to a little better position by going to Fredette, and Fredette had Ikazaki streaming by.
And so Puderbaugh now brings the Heat back within 10. A little over 4 minutes to go left in this match. And it looks like Bell's going to take the throw in.
Wheeler's poised and ready.
Wheeler, the pass to Ikazaki. Nicely done by Bell, but Puderbaugh just hops over that picker once again. I mean, he just went right through it. It was a good play by Bell, but Puderbaugh just jumped over that pick.
Yeah, you can be in the right place, but if the guy can just hop over you,
not much you can do about that.
What are you going to do? Yeah. John with a nice lead there by Joe Jackson. Puderbaugh could have trouble getting to this with Wheeler in his face.
Puderbaugh not going to get that one. Great defense by Josh Wheeler. And you know, you have to say, up by 11, they're still playing hard defense out there.
None of these guys is going to stop pushing hard.
I mean, as a competitor at this point, you just want to see how much further you can bring that lead out to. And Josh Wheeler playing great defense there to create the turnover. And so now he'll take his time.
They want to leave no question in anyone's mind, as do the fans.
Puderbaugh comes in. Ikazaki coming in to help out Wheeler. Fredette, Bell doing nice to free up Wheeler. Now Wheeler.
14 on the shot clock. Comes around the corner.
Wheeler looking for a pass. Is he just going to push his way through? He does. He was looking over for a moment, didn't have any options, and just decided to take it himself.
And he used 33 seconds for that play.
I mean, that's a pretty efficient possession by the Wildcats. Puderbaugh with the ball. Stopped by two Wildcat defenders. Springer takes it for the Heat. Nicely done by Puderbaugh to just slow down Ikazaki, but Springer and Wheeler collide. Wheeler caught up, and Springer just weaves his way around and scores another point. And it looks like the Wildcats are going to set up for one final change, get some other guys a little bit of playing time. Looks like C.J. Brown is coming back into the match, as well as number 33, Chris Fleece, going to make his debut in this match. And coming out is Fredette and Bell. Wheeler stopped, but the pass off to Ikazaki. Brian Spurla in the match for the 360 Heat. And now we're going to get those substitutions. As I mentioned a moment ago, Chris Fleece coming in. Also C.J. Brown in place of Bell and Fredette. .235 left to go here in this championship match. The score 51-39. 11 points, a dominating performance by the Wildcats.
Yeah, they did a really nice job in this game of eliminating the threats of the Heat and taking advantage of turnovers and other opportunities that came their way.
Chun with the throw-in. Spurler with the ball, passes it back over to Chun. And now Puderbaugh streaking down the floor. I mean, he accelerates so quickly, and Puderbaugh goes tumbling over. He had so much speed coming around, he just couldn't keep his balance as he was trying to avoid the spectators down there. And so he's just gonna
see him shaking his head.
Yeah,
as he lay there, like, what did I do?
He knew, and here's a replay of it once again. Just turned, and his back wheel just got caught on the court. And with those people down there,
chucking the cameraman.
Let's see, that's going to be still a Wildcat ball, it looks like here. C.J. Brown going to throw in.
Wheeler gets out the back door.
So now Ikazaki, nice move by Ikazaki there, and now it's a race. Ikazaki, the pass over to Wheeler.
Again, chewing up that clock.
Time winding down, just over 2 minutes left to go.
Springer with the flat tires, looking for some help from the bench.
And here Nick Springer yelling out for a tire change. So we're going to take a moment. And now that the season's over, everybody's going to regroup and get ready to do it all over again in a couple months.
Start back up in September with games. Registration early in September, games starting at the end of September. But a lot of these guys will be training all summer to prepare for World Championships in Sydney, Australia. I believe it's Sydney.
Puderbaugh gets around Wheeler. Wheeler trying to put somebody else on the floor for change, but Puderbaugh goes over the line. CJ Brown for the Wildcats sends it back in. Ikazaki. Ikazaki racing. Puderbaugh, huge collision, and Puderbaugh ends up on the losing end of that one. He dished it out, but he's the one that ends up on the floor.
He did stop Ikazaki from getting anywhere.
This is true.
Goal, but I don't think he planned to be on the floor. You know, his not having legs, all his weight is up top, so he's a lot more susceptible to a fall like that.
And we're going to get a substitution coming into the match for Nick Springer, number 23, Jake Zunich. A little over 90 seconds left to go in this championship match.
Completely dominated by University of Arizona.
CJ Brown with a point, and you can really feel it now. And
Wheeler draws so much attention. He had 3 guys on his side when he went toward that corner, knowing full well he'd never make it, so that Brown was all by himself.
Puderbaugh racing around. Brown tries to stop him. The pass over to Chun, who's going to take it over the line. 43-42 the score, and we have another player on the floor.
It's not Wheeler.
It is not Wheeler this time. It looks like CJ Brown is the one on the floor.
Look for the hair, yeah.
And while we have a moment, Dave, I just want to say thank you for coming on and joining me on this broadcast. It's been an enjoyable afternoon here. I want to thank you for adding a little bit of insight and depth to this broadcast today.
Yeah, it's great to work with you, Tony. And Ability 360 has been a great host. They've hosted the national championships 2 years in a row. We really appreciate everything they've done for the USQRA and by hosting this tournament and just giving some exposure to the sport so that people can see what they're missing.
While we have another break in play, I just also want to thank everybody who helped out with putting on this event this weekend. As you said, Ability 360 did a great job coordinating this entire thing. It's no easy task hosting a national tournament, and Ability 360 made it look easy. Also want to thank all the sponsors who made this possible this weekend. It's been a great tournament. Without the help of all of these generous sponsors, it wouldn't be the event that it is.
And plus all the volunteers, the referees, the classifiers who are taking days off of work to come here so that we can play this game. We really appreciate the support of all those people, whether they're raising money or cleaning the floors or classifying players. It really makes it so that we can play this game and just focus on the sport.
Also, I just want to say thank you to Floodstream, who's provided the video feed all weekend long. They've done a great job pushing this tournament out to the world, really. Anybody with an internet connection can hop online and watch this competition. So Floodstream doing a great job showing the pictures of this event this weekend. And going over the line, Paco Torres for the Wildcats. Derek Helton also in the match. You and I were kind of talking at halftime about all of this talent that was sitting on the Wildcat bench. Derek Helton, former Paralympian, sitting on the bench the entire game.
Can their bench come play on my team?
And so now there's a race for the ball. Helton going to get there first.
Bench.
But Helton's not going to be able to control that one. 15 seconds, just over 15 seconds left to go. And the Wildcats up by 12.
We'll see if they try and score this here or just end the pain. But you can see that Sean.
Yeah, I think
mentally done.
Oh, Paco Torres doing everything he can to prevent the Heat from scoring one last point. And again, you just have to respect the drive to just keep competing, even though this game is over. I mean, it's been over for a while, but both these teams are still out here pushing for points. Putterball blasting his way through to score one more point. So maybe instead of a 12-point victory, it's an 11-point victory, which isn't much to take home, but it's a little bit of something for the Heat.
You want to make the best of your minutes, and you know, Paco wasn't out there very long. Helton wasn't out there very long. All these guys are just getting their minutes in.
And there it is, the final whistle, ladies and gentlemen. The University of Arizona Wildcats 55, the Ability 360 Heat 44, and your national champion, University of Arizona Wildcats. We said it before, but it bears repeating. Dave, the Wildcats were dominating out here today.
Yeah, there was no answer for them. The Heat had played a good game, but clearly not good enough. They're not going to be happy, but second in the USQRA out of 45 teams is no small feat. They should truly be proud of how they played and the fact that they made it here, especially after that overtime game that they played earlier against these same Arizona Wildcats.
I mean, this first half the first quarter was crazy, but the Wildcats came out, started controlling the game, and really never let go. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for watching. That is the end of this live stream. For Parasports Live, I'm Tony Jackson. We'll see you next season. The University of Arizona, your 2018 USQRA champions.